This is the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield 380 Auto EZ, and it's the Model 2.0. I'm actually not familiar with the Model 1, so this is just the only thing that I know. And I was asked to do this by you all out there, and I'm happy to do that. The entire deal with this type of pistol is that it is easy to use. That's why it says easy in the name. The slide is very easy to operate. The magazine is very easy to load. It's got these little pull tabs here, so you can pull it down while you're loading instead of having to try to push each individual bullet down there. In addition, these things are, the trigger pull is easy. It's very easy to disassemble if you need to clean it. It's, it operates just like nearly any other firearm. You just pull it off. And again, from a YouTube, video reviewer guy here, we're just showing you how to disassemble and clean it, not how to modify it, not how to build it or anything like that. Again, you just slide it back on, pull it back, flip this little guy back in, and you are good to go. Now, when I had originally talked about this, I had compared it to this SIG P365. This is what I chose as a carry gun versus my Glock 23 and 40 cal. The reason is, that I took this one. It's much smaller. It's much narrower. The grips are it's narrow. I can almost fit the SIG inside the Glock. But when we look at this M&P Shield, when you make a gun that is easier to use, you have to use parts that are a little bit bigger, for the most part. For example, this, to pull it to rack the slide on this one, it does take a considerable amount of force. And when you are using a considerable amount of force, folks with weaker grip strength, folks with weaker forearms and such aren't going to be able to use it as easily as this one. And I don't have any way to tell you guys, I don't have any measurement, like a pull meter or whatever. This is a very easy gun to operate. There is hardly any resistance to it, and it is much better as far as pull than this Glock. This Glock has a decent amount of pullback. Now, for me, not a big deal, but for someone who's elderly, has muscle issues, is weaker, maybe a female or something like that, there is definitely some issue with being able to operate a firearm like this versus the easy one like this. Now, again, that comes with a drawback. When you compare this SIG P365, this has 10 plus 1 9mm capacity, and again, like I said, it has that little bit higher pullback. This Smith & Wesson M&P Shield has 8 at 380, and you can do 8 plus 1 in it. But here's the deal: when you compare these side by side, the SIG in the 9mm is quite a bit smaller. It's quite a bit. It's a little bit narrower than the M&P Shield, and then this fires a less powerful bullet out of it. But here's the thing: a lot of folks give 22 and 380 and a lot of the smaller calibers, they give them a lot of crap because they don't have the stopping power and the muzzle energy of a 10mm, of a 40 cal, of a 45 ACP, or even a 9mm. But the thing is, as long as you end up getting some shots on the target, if you're using this for self-defense or if you're just using this for target practice, it doesn't matter if you can control this gun better and put shots on target. It is better than a gun that has a ton of power, but you have very little control of. And if you guys aren't familiar with the difference in a 9mm and a 380 is essentially just a cut down 9mm. If you look at this, and I line these guys up on the bottom here, this has significantly less powder. Let me see if I can get a better shot at that. Less powder than this 9mm cartridge does, but they should be exactly the same size because they are essentially cut from the same cloth, so to speak. Now, there's some other cool features of this 380 that make it a really nice gun to use. It has a lot of safety features on it. This SIG basically has none. Your safety is your finger. It has no mechanical safety. It has no rear grip safety. It's basically, you pull it out of your pocket and you start, blasting.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang, bang.
This firearm, when you put this in here and you rack the slide, there's a couple of things that you're going to note. One is that this little guy on here pops up. This says that you have a round in the chamber. You can watch if we unload it. Now it's down, even though it's still ready to fire. You can fire it like that. There is no round in the chamber if this is down. Now that's not something that you're going to want to take 100% stock in, and you want to make sure that if you are looking at this, that you're saying, hey, this thing is empty before you go release the trigger or whatever. Even if you have it pointed in a safe direction, but once you have this loaded, that will pop up, tell you that there's one in the chamber. Then there's also this backstrap safety that has to be depressed before the trigger will go off. Even if you pull the trigger first, this is loaded right now, you pull the trigger and then push your hand back there, it will not fire. You'll hear here, if I can hear it. Now, once you let it go forward, now it is ready to fire. But it also has this mechanical safety on it too, which is something that you can get on a variant of this P365, but it is a little, it would take a little bit longer to pull it out of your pocket and end up being ready to fire at whatever you want to do if it's concealed carry. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the difference between the 9mm, the 40 cal, and the 380. We'll try to shoot the same target from the same distance, and it'll kind of give you an idea of the difference in the calibers, and then we'll wrap it up. Here we'll do the 380 first, then the 9mm, then the 40. Not a ton of movement, target movement with that. Next up is the 9mm. Much more target movement, and if you guys could see the gun, I'm not sure how the cameraman had the gun positioned there, but it did have a ton more recoil, a ton more kick, because this is a smaller gun shooting a larger cartridge. And last but not least, we have the Glock 23 and 40. This is very popular law enforcement, like I say all the time. And that has a significant amount of impact on the target. But the thing is, it doesn't really have much more recoil, and actually may be less and more controllable than the 9mm, just simply because it is a much larger gun that can handle that. So guys, that's my thoughts on the Smith & Wesson M&P EZ 380 Shield. It's a great gun. Like I said before, the best firearm for you is the one that you can most accurately put the rounds on target. If you use a giant gun that you cannot control, it's not going to be any better than a 22 or a 380 that you can reliably put rounds on target with. Guys, subscribe down below. 99.3 of you all that have watched this, 99.3% are not subscribed. Hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the like button. Share this with somebody to keep me moving in the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate you guys watching today, and I'll see you in the next one.